Okay, we're going to move into presentation proclamations, and this is Women's History Month, International Women's Month, February 2021, and this is going to be presented by Deputy Mayor Marks. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Marks.
Actually, we had Councilmember Sophia Aragon and I had a discussion offline about being able to co-present this if at all possible, and I was wondering if it'd be acceptable to council if maybe Councilmember Sophia Aragon would like to read the first half of the proclamation, and I could read the second half.
Give us 1 minute, Deputy Mayor, just to make sure that we have all the mayors that we're going to be present here today. And great seeing you, mayors. Thank you for being here today. And we have the privilege of Deputy Mayor and Councilmember Aragon that will share in reading the proclamation. And so go ahead, Councilmember Aragon, you can go ahead and start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Deputy Mayor Marks. Whereas 1910, Washington became the 5th state to enact Washington's suffrage, and this success helped inspire the passing of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1920, when women won the right to vote nationally, and
whereas since 1914, March 8th has been recognized as International Women's Day, and since 1987, March has been designated Women's History Month, and
whereas since Burien's incorporation in 1993, women have held 46% of council positions and 65% of deputy mayor positions, and almost half of Burien mayors have been women, and
whereas 36% of Burien businesses are owned by women and 11% have equal ownership with a male business partner, and
whereas women constitute a majority of Burien's population and a significant portion of the labor force, making countless contributions to our community across every facet of life. And
whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, women leaders stepped up to lead recovery and relief efforts. And
whereas 0.6% of the population identify as transgender, and transgender women are women who deserve an equal measure of celebration and acknowledgement this month and all months. And
whereas queer women were a major part of the fight for women's suffrage and LGBTQIA+ rights, and
whereas, according to a study from the National Women's History Museum, there is a lack of intersectionality and representation within the celebration and teachings of Women's History Month, and
whereas women of every race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, ability, national origin, immigration status, and socioeconomic background continue to make historic contributions to the growth and strength of our community. And
now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Burien, Washington, does hereby ask all Burien community members to join together to proclaim March 2021 as Women's History Month
in the City of Burien, and urges all community members to celebrate the history and contributions of women to the Burien community, dated this first day of March 2021.
All righty, thank you so much. And mayors, if you'd like to say a couple of words, please. You represent, the dream of my daughter and women in our city. And so thank you so much for serving. And go ahead, you get a couple of minutes here.
Can I go? Good evening, everybody. Yes, and can you hear me? Okay. I just want to thank you for this honor, along with Sally Nelson and Lucy Krakowiak. I was very fortunate that I've always loved history. And so when Burien incorporated and I had an opportunity to participate, I just moved right in. And my parents and my teachers had always taught me I could do anything I want to do. So I never really thought about the women's aspect of it. And of course, this was after the women's movement in the 1970s, which brought more women's issues to the forefront. But anyway, now that you mention it, I was actually the first woman deputy mayor and the first woman mayor of Burien. So I'm proud of that, and I thank you so much. And I see the council is continuing that tradition. But, we all stood on the foundations of great women of Burien before us. Dottie Harper, Vivian Matthews, Carol Sealander, Jean Pfeiffer, Barbara Reamer, Joan McGilton is probably one you're more familiar with. And so I'm happy to see this council continue that. You're setting a role model for all women and young women, that regardless of whether you have a career or a family or who you are, that you can participate and be part of making things happen. So thank you all again for the great honor. We pray for you. We know these are difficult times with the COVID and finances and cultural issues, and you're all doing a great job. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Malene. Okay, go ahead, Mayor Sally Nelson. You're muted.
Mute. There you go. Sorry about that. So welcome, Mayor, and we're glad to participate in this. As Kitty said, it's a great honor to celebrate Women's History Month. And I could mention that when we were an interim city and subsequently a city council officially, we were quite unique because women were rarely majority, as Kitty will remember, of any council. And so as I look around and I see 4 women on the council, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the history that included women in a very important and distinguished way. Let me reflect a little on Burien, where we were. Kitty mentioned 1993 when we incorporated. There were 28 people running for 7 positions on the Burien City Council. I remember having 8 opponents. I mean, it was a very exciting time. After all, we tried 5 times to become a city and it failed. Recall, if you could, there was no Main Street. There were no businesses virtually. Most were shuttered and dark. In Old Burien, there was one vibrant business. That was the feed store. So what happened was South Center sucked out the economic wind for us. So when we incorporated and became a city, we certainly wanted to create a downtown. Remember? Maybe you don't. 152nd was a 4-lane highway. There was no pedestrian walking. It was frightening to cross the street. So we had no park downtown. We had no main square. And that's what the community, in partnership with the Burien City Council, began to create. And we knew we had to work hard and roll our sleeves up. So we did that. Look what you have now, a partnership with the library, a 2-lane highway through Burien, really fostering economic development, a vibrant downtown, a town square. We have much to celebrate and a more robust economic development. I want to mention, because Kitty was so involved in this too, one of the focuses we were clear-eyed about was developing a very vibrant cultural and arts in the community, because we knew that helped grow economic development and nourished our citizens. And that's what we cared about. We also knew we had a great challenge in reinvigorating the business community. So we have been, if you can believe it, 101 years since we passed the 19th Amendment, since women had the right to vote. Imagine, it's been 49 years since the Congress passed the Equal Rights Amendment, ensuring equality to women. It's been 1 year since it was ratified, which is required by the 38th state, Virginia, in 2020. We need to enshrine this Equal Rights Amendment as part of our United States Constitution for all women and for all men. Help us do that by celebrating this month and moving the Equal Rights Amendment forward. It's taken persistence, hard work, dedication, and grit to get where we are. We can't give up now. And thank you all so much. Good luck. Carry us forward. Thea.
Thank you both mayors for all the service you gave this city and for continuing to be there. And thank you for participating tonight. It's a great gift for our city. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of International Women's Month.